So again, like I said, my name is Monica Avila Lopez. I've been with the company for about 9 years now as an ASP educator. I'm also bilingual, so hablamos español. If you guys need help, si ocupan ayuda en español, por favor, pueden poner abajo en el chat sus preguntas. So just letting know our Spanish-speaking friends that if they have any questions or concerns, they can add it into the chat and I can make sure to answer that at a later time. So let's go ahead and begin. If you can go ahead and switch the screen for me, Laura. Perfect. So how many of you have used Infiniti? If we can get some reactions, just so we can test the little button, and are in love with our new swatch book. This ends up being our last page in our swatch book, and it's our special collections. Okay, so we're going to go through all of these areas today and just make sure that you're familiar with them. If you have any questions, we can go over them or concerns, or hopefully you learn a new trick and tip that you can take back to the salon or behind the chair. All right, so we're going to go through our high lift series, which is our 12th series. We'll be going through our Gothic Grays, okay, our fabulous B Reds that come the fall. I'll be back to my usual red hair. Our B Brown collection. If you're not familiar with those are just like our B Reds, but they are a way to get controlled lift on browns. Our metallic toners, they're beautiful, beautiful shades, great for fashion. Our toners, which are our T, it's second to the last, kind of a gray purple box there. And these are the different shades that we have in our toners. And then we have our intensives. If you're not familiar with the intensives, those are unoxidized pigments that you can use to make some beautiful colors, customize them for your clients, and really be able to create and be out of the box with them. Go ahead and switch, Laura. Thank you for your patience, guys. So here's a closer look to them. I really like to point out this QR code at the bottom of each. This is a tool that has really come in handy, especially when we can't get into each salon every day with you. We wish we could and just do beautiful hair together. But the QR code, you can get your phone, you go to your camera, right? We focus on the QR code, a little link will pop up, you click it, and then you're able to get all the information you need, how to mix it, how to time it, lift action, everything on it. Perfect. Thank you, Laura. So that's an example of it. And that is such a helpful tool there. So again, these are the collections that we'll be going over today. So let's go ahead and get started with our high lift, which is our permanent color. Beautiful, thank you. So what are high lifts for, guys? We want to make sure that we're using them appropriately. The high lifts is your 12 series. They're beautiful shades. So you have your 12.0, your 12.1, 12.2. You have your 12.771, which is one of my favorites to use, especially with very dark hair when I'm starting with that. But we know whenever we need 5 levels of lift, this is going to be your tool to use. If you need anything more than a 5-level lift, that's when we go into some of our other specialty tools or our lighteners, okay? So you get 5 levels of lift with the OR 12 series. We do have a reducing pH. They process for 55 minutes at room temperature. So that's the life of your product. Once you've applied, you start your timer and that'll be 55 minutes at room temperature. If you need to speed it up, let's say we're doing a double process or we're doing another service after that, then we can go into heat and you do have the option of 30 minutes with heat. All of our colors are 90% derived from natural ingredients. And then what is really unique about our high lifts is that it's our ammonia content is 1.06. That is far lower than any other high lift out there. And really in some of our other color houses, a lot of their permanent color, regular shades like 1 through 10, you're even in like 3% ammonia content. So how unique that our high lift is very low, but we're able to still achieve those 5 levels of lift. That's with the datum and the GPS technology. The mixing ratio with your high lifts are going to be 1 to 2. Okay, so you do 1 part color, 2 parts developer. We always want to recommend to use our ASP developer with our product. They are designed to work together. An example we like to give is a cell phone. If we have a phone and we use a charger from another phone, is that necessarily going to work? Maybe, but we know that the charger made for your specific phone is going to work, right? So that's the way we guarantee as a color house that you're going to get that 5 level of lift. using ASP Infiniti with our developer, okay? Any questions on the high lift? I don't see anybody in the chat. Anybody want to chime in? Maybe a way they like to use the high lifts? Okay, one of my favorite ways to lift, especially for our Latino hair or very dark pigmented hair, so let's say like a level 4 and darker, when they're wanting to do an all over blonde or we're doing like a color block, I do like to go in with my lightener first using 10 volume. Okay, I do the System 9, lift it up first. I use 10 volume, I'll get it to full life of the lightener, so I'll let it process for 60 minutes. And then shampoo, anti-yellow shampoo, towel dry, and then I do apply the high lift with also 10, sometimes 20, depending where we're at. My favorite formula for my high lifts are going to be my 12.771 and 12.2 half and half. So how would that look for my ratio? I would do, let's say if it's a color block just in front, I would do maybe 10 grams of 12.771 with 10 grams of 12.2. That would give me my 20 grams, and then I would do 40 grams of developer. It is very important that you remember why I'm doing that is because I still need some lift. When I lifted that hair, there was still some RPC, so the remaining pigment contribution. There was still a lot of warmth. So my high lift is going to go in there and lift out that last bit of RPC and then slightly tone with the developer. I'm not using this as a toner. I'm using it as its purpose. I'm getting lift and deposit into my color or my color block on my client. And I'm getting some beautiful pale blondes. So it's a really nice, safer way to be able to do maybe a lightener and a high lift versus doing lightener and then bleaching again, maybe sometimes needing a third bleach. And it's also very soft on the client's hair and scalp. All righty, let's go ahead and switch the screen, Laura. Thank you for working here. All right. And actually you can click up until this page fills up for me. All righty. So these are hints and tips. Something that I didn't mention previously is our 12OS. So if you're not familiar with 12OS, that's a tool you should totally have in your cabinet, whether you're using your 12 series or you're using just any of the other color infinities. Why? That's your lifesaver right there. A 12OS is going to give you one level of lift higher. So let's say we're talking outside of high lifts, how you can use it in your day-to-day routine. Let's say I have a client who needs a 6.0 and I'm completely out. I haven't placed my order or my rep's running a little behind or whatever the case may be. I can use 5.0 with a quarter of or 25% of my 12OS, and it's going to give me one level lighter. So creating that 6.0 that's needed at the time. What's really nice with our 12 series is that by adding that, you're going to get that much more lift. Understand that it won't affect the tonal value, which is really neat. And also when depositing your high lifts, your tonal value is going to come at the end. So it's very important not to try to use them as a toner where you apply and look at, see that you got that little bit of lift out and you're ready to rinse it out. No, if you're going to use it to give liftability still and some tonal value, you make sure that you're processing full time. The 12 series collection should not be used with converter, again, because the purpose of it is to have the ammonia give extra lift, okay? So that was at top there. And then another example, which was done by one of our educators here. The way they did this was 75 grams of 12.771, 12 grams of 12OS, and 30 grams of 30 or 40 volume. Again, we recommend 30 or 40 volume with the 12 series. Why? Because the main purpose of it is lift. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're getting the most lift and most action out of it. If you're applying it on gray hair, let's say you have somebody that has 80% gray hair, okay, or white hair, you still have that 20% that they just don't want to see those little dark strands in their hair and you want to apply it all over. You can absolutely use a 12 series. What's really unique about it though is that you should, or I'm sorry, what you should be doing to make sure you get that unique result is using a 12.0 into your 12.771 or your 12.2. Reason being, you're getting more lift. So we're going to lift out those 20% dark hair, but it's going to give you a tone at the end, right? A slight tone. But if you have white hair that has no tone, that slight tone is going to look like a lot more, right? So we want to make sure that we take that in consideration and use our 12.0 into equal parts with our other tones. We doing good, guys? Anybody want to come in and just share a little bit of how they use a 12 series or what's their favorite formula?
You're welcome to unmute yourself.
Yep. We're a little shy this morning. I know you expected Amanda. I'm so sorry to disappoint you guys.
I have a
but I hope
question.
yeah.
Hello, yes, this
Hi.
is Marie. This is
Hi,
Marie. I'm in Maryland, and
Hi.
and I have a client that
Okay.
wants to be a complete blonde, and she is like 85–90% gray,
Okay.
just in the front, her hairline. And I have really been struggling with getting a formula together so that I just have evenly consistency. When using the High Lift series, what volume developer would be able to get the achieved look that I'm looking for?
Okay, so I just want to make sure I'm understanding correct.
Yeah.
The front of her hair is 100% white.
Yes.
Are we
Just her
talking about
hairline.
the other percentage of her hair that it maybe is still dark or has like a salt and pepper?
It's salt and pepper in the back, 100% hairline.
And we're trying to get all of it to be even, correct?
Exactly correct.
Okay, then I would go into like the first example I gave that was one of my experience with this product is at that point, I'm assuming she's probably in your darker shades, like maybe like a 4 or 5 on with
Yes.
like the salt and pepper. Perfect.
Yes.
Because we need to get more than 5 levels of lift, just using 12.0 by itself is not going to be the best option. So whatever is not 100%, so leaving that front section out, you would want to treat this as a color correction and start with lifting it. I would do the System Blonde with 9-level lift with 20 volume. Process her for an hour, the full time. Once you've applied all of the sections, stay away from the scalp first, right? Like a bleach, virgin bleach, and then go back in, apply on the roots, let it process for an hour. Once that's processed, you should be at the level that you're looking for. So we're talking maybe like a 9-10, but with a very pale yellow. You would take that out, shampoo her, and then still staying away from the white, right? Because I don't want this to end up going too cool on you. Then we would treat this back area that we just lifted with the formula 12.771 and 12.2 equal parts.
Okay.
And 10 volume.
Okay.
Process full time, which would be 55 minutes at room temperature or 30 under heat.
Okay.
Okay. That should give you, if not exact to the front or very close. If you needed to tone the front just to make sure if you have a just like slight silver, you just want to give it a gloss at the very end of your time. I would just kind of, what did you do? Like a soap cap or a glamour bath, add your shampoo and just run it through with the rest of the product before you shampoo. And that should give that slight hue to the front area just to make sure you're even.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, it is. It is helpful. Yes. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for coming off of mute.
I know I was trying to type it in the chat. I said, no, let me just say it.
Oh, that's a long question. I don't mind it at all. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Laura, if we can switch the screen now. My beautiful Vanna White over there. All righty, and excuse me, I'm gonna cough. Okay, sorry about that. So our next collection is the Gothics. These are so cool, you guys. If you're not using them, this is something to really play with. Learn these rules, right? We need to learn the rules before we break them. But when I say break them, I just want you to feel creative. I want you to understand the different ways to be able to use it. So what is our Gothic? Our Gothics is our no lift deposit only. So if that means deposit only, we should only be using 10 volume when we want permanent color. or converter when we want to do a fashion shade or demi or toning. If we're adding like low lights maybe. One of my favorite features before I continue, because I don't want to forget to say this, is I'll use this for low lighting my blondes. And I'll get back to that after we go over these rules. So again, the way you would use this product, okay, it's going to be 1 to 1.5 developer. When you're using, well, as a permanent, bless you. When we're using Gothics as a permanent color, we're going to mix it 1 to 1.5, and we're going to do 10 volume. The other option that I mentioned was converter, right? Those are the only two that are deposit only. So when you're going to do it with converter, we'll do the converter rules, which is going to be 1 part color to 2 parts of your product. In this case would be your Gothics. When you're processing, we're going to go over just permanent first, and then I'll reiterate our converter version, okay? So as a permanent, we're going to do 1 to 1.5, 10 volume. We're going to process for 45 minutes at room temperature or 25 minutes with heat. These has 4 different shades. On your collection, again, if you have the newest swatch book, it's the very last page where you kind of flip it open from the magnet. You'll have to excuse me. Again, this was last minute jumping on. I have it at the salon because I use it day to day. With your Gothics, it's a collection that's 1.117, okay? So it's a very cool color. Beautiful gray shades. What is important with the Gothics is that we process full time, as any of our products. However, with the Gothics, thank you, Laura, we want to make sure that we go full time because you're going to see green, green, then you see blue. At the last point of its deposit time, it complements each other and it turns into these beautiful gray shades. You can see them here on the screen. So we have 4.117, 6.117, 9.117, 10.117, okay? The way you would use these, again, with permanent, you're doing 1 to 1.5. You process 45 minutes, room temperature, or 25 with heat. Now, on the converter side, you can see this bottle here. It's a blue, I'm sorry, why did I say blue? A black bottle. When you're mixing it, you're going to do 1 part color, 2 parts converter. Why do we need to do that? The converter, if you're not familiar with it, it's a very unique developer that stops ammonia action. So we're going to turn our permanent color, right? We do have ammonia in our colors. It's a very low. It's from, oh my gosh, I totally drew a blink here. 0.2 to 0.9, so it's lower than 1 whole percentage. And when you're using the converter, you're going to mix it, and then you can go ahead and let it sit 5 to 10 minutes. That's going to stop the ammonia action, and we're going to go into our deposit time. So this is going to be great for gray blending when we're using converter. If you're using fashion shades, let's say you did, like we mentioned earlier, a color block that's super in right now, or even within my hair. Actually, that's part of my formula. And I don't know, I could get a little bit closer. It's a very cool blonde here. I was lifted with System 9 Blonde and the anti-yellow additive. And then my formula base was actually 6.117. Then I added 8.2. Okay, and I can write this in the chat at the end of the class. 6.117, 8.2, and 801. We did 3 parts, okay? And then 1 part color, 2 parts of converter. Mixed it, let it sit, and then applied it over all of the blonde. And I have this beautiful blonde here. And I processed my toner for 15 minutes, okay? So don't think that these shades are just for somebody that wants gray hair, that just wants to gray blend. I mean, they can be used very creatively. Earlier, I mentioned I like to use them as my low lights for blondes. If I were to take a blonde and they wanted some lowlights, you put a 4.0 on their hair for a low light, they think it's black. They don't want black hair color in their hair. They want to say blonde. They just want some dimension. This is great for that. So I'm going to give example of this wall behind me. Okay. It's white, right? It's all white. But you can see these areas where it looks lighter there, right? And then you see kind of a shadow. That's what the Gothics does for you in hair color. It's going to create a shadow at the same level. So it's not necessarily affecting the tonal value when you're using it as a low light. And we're also going to think of like the amount or the technique that we're using. So we're going to do baby lights, maybe just in certain areas casting a shadow. So especially for shadow rooting, this would be great option for it. So this would be our Gothic's collection. Anybody want to come off of mute and share how they use that? Or their experience with it? Oh, perfect. Thank you, Laura. I see that you put it in there. All righty. So if you go to the chat, Laura put in my formula there. All righty. And I'm just going to share a message with Elizabeth real quick in Spanish and I'll translate. Elizabeth, me da mucho gusto que estés aquí viendo la clase. Me da mucha pena la clase es en inglés ahora. Podemos después de la clase, puedo agarrar tu número y te puedo hablar y explicarte un poquito más si gustas o si gustas poner tus preguntas ahí y después te las contestaré. So I'm just letting Elizabeth know because she wrote in that if I could explain in Spanish as well. This is an English class, so we're going to go ahead and continue in English, but I did let her know that if she has any questions, I can answer it in the chat after, or I can get her number and call her. That's something very unique about ASP. We're always willing to help our stylists. We want to make sure that you not only have the tools in your hand, but can use them. So this is not anything new, where I'm very happy to help her out as soon as we have a moment. Okay, Laura, if you can go ahead and switch the next screen for me. Perfect. This is a great example. Oh, Nancy's work. So Nancy's to the left here. She's one of our also bilingual educators. When she did this, you can see that she's lifted, pre-lightened her client first, okay? So it says, pro tip, Gothic processing can be visually when mixed with Infiniti shades 1 through 10. So you can mix it in, it's totally intermixable within each other or within the rest of the color line. So let's say I have a client who is level 8 and she's red, so an 8.6, okay? But she wants some low light, she wants some dimension. I can take that 8.6 and add 6.117 into it, and that would give me a like casted shadow, kind of like the wall we mentioned, to add some low light to the hair. Also, as you can see, which is on my toner, add it to your blonde toners. It will change your world. It is a game changer. So it's just such a unique tool to be able to use by itself as a permanent color, to use it for toning with your blondes. You can use it for fashion shades, as you see here. There's just an awesome collection. So I hope if you haven't given it a try that you do. Okay, Laura, go ahead and switch it up for me. Great. So here's another, this is a full lightning. Okay, so I see slate, pre-lightened, then toned. The formula for this is 4.117 plus 6.117 and 0.7. If you're not familiar with just the point and a number, that's from our intensives. We're going to get into that shortly, but that is a blue intensive. And then on her ends, because you can see her ends did have color, it's a different formula. So that was 9.117 with 6.117 with 0.7 intensive and 0.2. So we're adding 0.7, which is blue, and we're adding 0.2, which is violet. You can see how beautiful and even the result is. And that's what makes it really fun, when you know the rules and then you can really apply them and get creative with them, and you get this beautiful result. Go ahead and switch for me. All right, so these are some of our favorite gray formulas. We have our stormy gray. If you know how to do, if you're on your computer, you can do a screenshot. If not, please take a picture of this. This is something that you should have. These are your go-to cheat sheets. So we have our stormy gray, 10.117 from Gothics, 10.0. Again, adding a 10.0 in there or a natural series is just to make sure that we don't go too cool on the color. If you have somebody with higher percentage of white, or if you pre-lightened it, okay? And then I love this. To me, this is an old school trick, the 1.0, 1 gram. If you haven't tried it, you can always add 1 gram of black, 1.0 into your color, and it would give you a beautiful tonal value to it. So something that's pretty unique here, and that's what they're using with the stormy gray, okay? You have your cool gray, also 10.117. Now we're adding 10.2, and that's going to be a little bit of violet just to counteract any of your pre-lightened or any extra yellow in the hair. And now we're going to mix it with converter. Okay, so that'd be 30 grams of converter, and then your icy gray, also 10.117, 10.2, 10.0, and your converter. This is a great way to use it as a toner. All righty, Laura, go ahead and switch up. Perfect. All righty, guys. So this is gonna be our toners. All righty. We have 4 warm pigments and we have 3 cool pigments. The way we're going to use this, as we explained before, with converter, okay? Converter is going to stop any ammonia action. It's going to go into our deposit. I do mention that, and some people might question, well, why do you need ammonia action stopped in toner if the toner is a demi color and we don't have ammonia? Okay, some of our cooler shades have a slight bit of ammonia that only aid us in, and it's a working ammonia, so it's only going to go in, clean out any of the RPC, and make sure you get those beautiful cool deposits, okay? The way you're going to mix your toners is going to be 1 to 2, okay? So it's 1 part of your color, 2 parts of converter. You're going to mix and you apply, okay? Go ahead and switch for me, Laura. All righty. I'm sorry, did I go back, Laura? We're on our intensives. The other way. Yeah, there we go. Okay, sorry guys. So we're going over our intensives. I confused our packaging here with our toners, but very similar. So these are our intensives. Okay, so we have the 4 pigments, the 3 cool. When we're doing intensives, okay, I want to just save that little, if you're writing notes, save those notes when we go over the toners. I just mix it up. However, our intensives still have the shades there. What you're going to use your intensives for is your pure unoxidized pigments. Those are going to be to customize your colors, get very creative with it. And let's say you're out of a color, you'll be able to intermix them into your normal Infiniti shades to really be able and make the colors that you're missing, or just really customize the color. I think that's my favorite thing to do with them. Go ahead and switch it, Laura. All right, so here they are. If you're not familiar, or maybe you're new to Infiniti, this is a great tool for you to get familiar with what our tones are. So it does go with the International Color Code. 1 is going to be 1 after the decimal. Okay, we know that the first number before the decimal is going to be your shade, or it's going to give you your depth, how light or how dark. Anytime the number is after the decimal, you're going to go into your tonal value. So anytime there's a 1 behind it, it's a green ash. 2 is violet ash. 3 is gold. 4 is copper. 5 is mahogany. We don't necessarily have an intensive, but I do want to bring it up because if you're new to the line and you're looking at your swatch book, when you see a 0.5, that's going to be mahogany. It's going to be every color in the color wheel except for green. So it's a very warm, rich color. 0.6 is going to be red. 0.7 is blue ash, and then 0.76 is purple. Okay. The difference between the violet ash and purple, does anybody want to come off of mute and share? Give it a minute. All right, I think we got some shy guests today. Our 0.76 is going to be purple. That's going to be your warm tone. Okay, when you're doing a 0.2 is going to be your violet ash. Notice that with 1, 2, and 7, I made sure to say the color that it is and that it's ash. I think it's very important that we make sure we use that in our verbiage when we're explaining our colors, because it's so easy to just say, well, I lifted my client, she has warm hair in the RPC and I need an ash toner. And then we just grab any, where we see ash and just mix it up and we apply it. And sometimes you have the result where maybe it's a little bit more green than you expected, or a little bit just muddy. It's very important to know what direction of ash that we're going to. So again, you see your green ash, your violet ash, or your blue ash. There's 2 different ways to use them. We have our add and our include technique, and we'll go over that. I want you to see the image where it says control. Let's just say that's our starting point. When you do the add technique, which is this first one, we're adding it into our formula. You can see how it's going to really make the color richer. When you see the control color now mixed with the include, which is now at the right, you can see how it's slightly cooler. That's the difference. So when we want to tone or we want to subdue, we want to do the include technique. When we want to make it brighter or richer, we're going to do the add technique. So let's go over this. You can see the blue tube, that's going to be your Infiniti color. So you're going to mix your color like normal, your color, your developer. Once you've added those two, then you can add in your intensive. Okay, and that would be your add technique. So an example would be, I'm gonna mix, I'm gonna make a blue black. Okay, so I'm gonna do 30 grams of 1.0. I'm gonna do my developer 1 to 1.5, right? Because Infiniti is permanent color is mixed 1 to 1.5. And then once I have that color, that's my formula, I'm gonna add and make it deeper or darker, and I'm gonna do my 0.7. Okay, let's say I didn't have my 1.7 in stock. I've just now made it by having my intensive, okay? So you can add your 0.7, 30 grams into it, and you would get your blue black. That would be the add technique. Your next one would be your include technique, and that's gonna make it lighter or brighter. So you're gonna take your Infiniti tube, you're gonna do your color. See how now I'm adding in or including in my formula, my intensive. Then you do the developer. That's the difference between the two, okay? So let's say I'm gonna, I wanna do for a toner, same, I'm gonna do the point, let's do a 0.2 with it. I could do 30 grams of 10.0. And then I can do my 10.2, or I'm sorry, my 0.2 intensive. And then I would add my formula. That would give me a very lighter or brighter, so paler color, okay? Perfect. Any questions on the add technique or the include? I love this visual here that Amanda put in because it really does give a good example of what it'll do. If what your starting point is, what an add technique can be, and what an include technique could have at the same color. So imagine where it says control, that's your starting color. Those are the different shades. Now, what's really cool with the intense is that let's say you were doing your global color is the control color here. Then I can do highlights and lowlights with the add and the include. It could be the same color tube, but because you mix it differently, you can have a super dimensional color. It's a great way to be able to use your intensives. Okay, Laura, go ahead and switch. All righty, perfect. So this is a great example for like toning with converter. We did the metallic copper rose color. We added 0.6, which is your red intensive, and 0.3 gold. And she got this beautiful like coral color. You can see all the dimension in it. All righty, can we go ahead and switch slides? Ooh, my favorite, guys. Okay. So the B reds, they are beautiful. This is what made me fall in love with ASP to begin with. What a great way to get lift on your red. Or I'm sorry, be able to get lift and the deposit of red in one step, okay? So gone are the days that I'm gonna bleach everybody's highlights, wash, blow dry, then put the red toner on it and let it sit another hour. What if I told you you can do that in 15 minutes processing time? Game changer. You can charge the same, but you're going to do it in like a quarter of the time. So your B reds are going to be mixed equal parts. You're going to go 1 to 1, 1 part color, 1 part developer. They do give you 5 levels of lift. What is important to know with the B reds? They're designed for level 6 or darker. Okay. These are not meant to be on my hair. So let's say in the fall, or yeah, in the fall when I decide to go red, I'm going to use this B red on my root. Okay. I'm going to use the refresher, which is corresponding to it. So for every B red color we have 5 shades. There's also a refresher. That's a direct dye, semi-color. I would just use that on the end. I have lift already. I just want to get the same color that my root's going to be. Okay, we'll get into refreshers in just a minute. So with the B reds, you have the 5 levels, which is going to be copper, red, copper. Oh, thank you, Laura. red, copper, copper, red, violet, and magenta. Magenta should be the only color that really you can apply it on level 6 or lighter. Why? There's a lot of blues in it. There's like, you know, purple in it as well. So we want to make sure that it is applied on a lighter shade so that you really get to see that pop and that fun color that B red brings to the table, okay? Go ahead and switch for me, Laura. Perfect. When we're using our color, I love it that we're able to give you the mixing ratio. So for a base 6, if that's the result you're looking for, you can go with the 10 volume. If you're going for anything higher, you can go 20. 1 base higher, you go 30, and then you have your 40 volume. This to me is different. Why? Because most of your high lifts and other color houses that are going to be your high lift reds are going to automatically ask you to do 30 or 40 volume. With my hair, I'm naturally level 3. When I've gone this Be Red Red, or Red Violet is the shade that I normally use, I do 10 volume on my roots and 20 on my ends. Given I have a lot of high lift in my hair, I wouldn't do that this time. I would do the high lift at my root, still with 10 volume, and then I would do refresher on the ends, okay? So like I mentioned before, for every color that we have in Be Red High Lift Cream, you're gonna have it in a semi-color or your refresher. Straight out of the tube, you don't mix it with anything. You apply that to areas that are already pre-lightened, or you're coming in for a retouch with a refresh, hence the name refresher, okay? Excuse me, can we switch the slide, Laura? Okay, this is one of my gals that I did. So you can see she has a lot of pre-lightening in her hair. She's very, this is the image to the left. You can see there's some great coverage that we're looking at there. So we had a little bit of everything going on, but because I felt like her hair was in good condition, we went ahead and used some Infiniti color to fill in, okay? Because again, they're designed for dark hair. If I were to apply this on just her hair where it's highlighted and lifted, it would have been super, super bright or just slightly off. I like the way that Be Red reflects in the sun, but make sure that we're getting the right tones. When you're going on lighter shades applications for the first time, I wouldn't need to go over and over on it with it each time. You can see the formula there, roots to ends on the darker color was 3.66 with 15 grams of 8.46. And I added 15 grams of red violet Be Red. You can see that it is intermixable. So Be Reds can be used by themselves, as the image on the right here, where that was Be Red Red with 20 volume, or as my client, where you can see that it is intermixed with your Infiniti color, okay? 10 volume, I didn't need to go any higher. I knew there was going to be dimension already based on what she had. And then her copper pops were 9.34 with 30 grams of copper, also done with 10 volume, okay? Very unique. There, I put the challenge out there, compare it to any other high lift reds. I'm sure not just the result is going to impress you, but the longevity of our Be Reds. They are designed to give you lift, deposit the red, and it also coats the cuticle with red. So this is going to be a beautiful, long-lasting red. Okay, perfect. Laura, can we switch the slide?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
It's Marie. It's Marie again.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so did I hear you correctly with the Be Reds that the refreshers, you don't have to use a developer, it's just straight from the tube
Correct.
to the strands?
Yep. That's exactly
And
what I
you can
said.
also use other parts of the color line with the Be Reds?
Yes, the high lift cream. So we don't
The
want
high,
to, I want to make sure we don't confuse anybody
yeah,
with
yeah.
the Be Red refreshers. They're to be used by themselves directly from the tube. So that would be on anything that's already been pre-lightened, meaning they came in and this is their second visit with you, and now they're coming in to do Be Red touch up. And this part is like slightly faded. We want to put in a refresher. Maybe
Yeah.
it's been 2 or 3 times and it's just time to refresh. That's where
Okay.
refresher comes into play. Straight out of the tube, we're not mixing it with anything. We apply it and process it with your color, okay? If she was coming in like my hair is, I would do the high lift cream at the root on my dark area, and I would use refresher on my mids to ends because my hair is already light. I don't need to lift. We have to remember the Be Red is very similar to the 12 series, where their main purpose is to give liftability before they deposit the color, okay? So on this area where I already have light, then it's just time to put the color in. So I would do high lift on my root and I would do refresher on my mids to ends.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Marie. Any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, but I did have another question privately that asked about mixing. So you can mix Infiniti shades with the Be Red shades.
Correct. So what's really unique about doing that, when I'm mixing Be Red into my Infiniti color, I'm giving my Infiniti color that 12 OS of reds. Okay, it's just going to help you give a little bit more lift and gonna make that color a little bit brighter. If I'm using it by itself, it is straight up lift and deposit. So you're gonna have some beautiful lift, and then this color of red that's just gonna be so reflective in the sun. I mean, no exaggeration, you guys. If you haven't seen the B reds in the sun or out, natural light, it almost looks like there's highlights built into the hair or into, once the color's been processed, you see it blow dried and everything, and it's outside, and you see this beautiful reds with all this reflection within it. That's what makes B red so unique, in the fact that we don't have to use straight out of the tube 30 or 40 volume. Depending on where you're starting with, you can potentially go with a 10 or a 20. If you want the max lift, you want to go as bright as possible, by all means, do the 30 or the 40. But if you're wanting some of the colors, such as the example here, that's only done with 20 volume. And it's still very, very bright. So yes, they can be intermixed.
Okay, so I have
Quickly mention longevity and fadage.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I mentioned before, the B red, the longevity on it, it is amazing. Most of my clients, and I speak from personal experience, when I've had my hair red, I could probably do 3 to 4 root touch-ups before I need to refresh my ends. It is just a color that stays in the hair. It's meant to last long. And again, I just put the challenge out there. Compare it to any red. It's a huge difference. Marie, I think you had a question as well.
Yes, I did. Now, when we're adding B reds with another color in our line,
Yes.
what would be the processing time with that, being that B red is 15 minutes, and
Perfect.
then
That's such a great question. So let's start about intermixing it first. When
Right.
you're going to intermix it, you don't want to go more than half. Okay. So half of your formula, let's say for the example here, I was only doing 3.66. Then I would do 40 grams. Let's say I'm doing 80 grams of color, right? I would do 40 grams of 3.66, and the max B red would be 40 grams of my red violet B red. Okay. Anytime you go more than half, you're going to follow B red rules. Anytime it's 50% or less, you're going to go infinity rules. Does that make sense?
Yep. So more, if you're using more of the B red, you go B red rules.
Yep.
If you're using less, you go with infinity.
Perfect. And the reason we do that is that the B red is a committable red. So let's talk about the client or the picture to the right. It's a beautiful red, long-lasting red. But let's say she wants to go lighter, or she wants to go brown 6 months from now. Okay. She just came in and she colored it. Okay. First of all, that's why consultation is very important, because you need to know what direction you want to go with your client. Let's say she was already light and she wanted to go red. And I know this is a client that will eventually want her highlights back. B red is not the ideal product for her. I would stick then to refreshers. I could put in some of our color dynamics, which are our fashion deposit colors. I could go into hot shots, which are also semi colors, deep conditioning, and they would give some beautiful red tones to her hair. However, if she's a client that is B red committed, she wants to be there, then we're going to do the B red. Now, I'm not saying you can't remove it, because you absolutely can. I'm a perfect example of it. However, with the B red, it's going to take some time. Before you go out of the B red, that red is just going to get a little lighter, a little brighter until you lift it out. So it might take 2, maybe 4 sessions of lightening in order to be able to get the B red completely out of their hair. What's makes it different, because it is so committable, the only thing we want to use to remove it's going to be lightener. Eraser, unfortunately, will not work on her hair, on the B red, because it does have that direct dye in it as well. Okay. Any other question? I'm just going to check the chat real quick. All righty. Okay, so just going back into it, with the B red, we just want to reiterate, B reds are going to be mixed 1-to-1. You're going to process for, are we going back to the slide? Thank you, Laura. All right. I think it's one more. Maybe, yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's just reiterate on the B reds by themselves, because that is our topic of our specialty products. So it is 1-to-1, and you're going to process 35 minutes room temperature or 15 minutes with heat. Okay, and that's your B red. If you're using refreshers, those are going to be direct dyes. They're straight out of the tube. You just apply them, process them the time that you want. Minimal, you want to do at least 3 minutes on the hair. Other than that, you would rinse, shampoo, and blow dry, and you have these beautiful red and copper colors. Okay. All right, Laura, let's fast forward again into our next one. All right, our B browns, very new, but beautiful. Have you heard the term expensive brunettes? This is going to be an expensive brunette product, but it's going to save you the time and you're going to make the same amount of money. So with the B brown, we want to make sure that they're mixed equal parts, just like your B reds, 1-to-1. You have only 3 shades in them, and we'll show them to you in just a minute. You have, for processing time, it's going to be 35 minutes at room temperature or 15 minutes with heat. We can go ahead and switch for me, Laura. You get up to 5 levels of lift. You have your B8, your B6, and your B4. What I love about B brown is that you can actually achieve those beautiful brown colors, those brunettes, those chocolates, without it being super warm. How many times have we, had to go lighter, but we have to pre-lighten the hair because we really need to get out of those, warm levels. So maybe like a 6, maybe a 7. We need to break through those RPCs to be able to get the result we're looking for. That's where B brown comes into play. It does that for you. So it's going to be lift, a controlled lift. It's going to control the RPCs, and then you're going to get the beautiful deposit of the tone. So again, it comes in the 3 shades of B4, B6, and B8. You can see at the bottom, if we're trying to achieve, if we're applying on a base 6 or 5, you're going to do 10 volume. If we're doing anything darker, you can go 20, you can do 30 or up to 40. And either when we do 30 or 40, we want to make sure you keep in mind that that's either maximum lift or for stubborn dark hair. What would be stubborn dark hair? It could be very coarse, tight cuticle hair. It could also be hair that has a long hair history, color history. So let's say in the consultation, your client told you that she's been coloring her hair, color box, dare I say it, black for, 3 years. That's a long time. So understand that this would be an ideal product for her. However, you may need to do the 30 or 40 volume versus using a 10 or a 20 on her. So again, just making sure that we know the history of our client's hair, and then that's going to help determine what developer we're going to get into. Any questions? Okay, these are some beautiful colors. So just to give you an example of, also the B-Reds can be mixed with Infiniti. Think of it as a boost just to get that little bit extra lift that you're looking for. You can mix intensives with them, even though they're already designed to be a controlled lift. Sometimes you need to add a little bit extra 0.7. You need to control those orange warms, so I would do blue. If I know that my client has a lot of red to her hair and her reflection, then I might need to add some 0.1 into her hair, some green ash. So it's really important to know that you can still intermix your intensives into it for tonal control. An example would be for B8, adding a 0.7 blue ash intensive to it. And you can see these beautiful shades here. I mean, they can be used as highlights. They can be used as a balayage. You can be used as color blocking, that's super in, or as a full color. So it's really important to know that you have, just like you do in the red tones, now you have it in your brown tones as well. Can we switch? Thank you, Laura. So now we're going into our metallic toners. These are so beautiful. Amanda, I have to give her credit to her. With the metallic tones, I was always using them on just my super pale clients, super pale, super blonde, just trying to get that beautiful metallic shine and glow to the hair. And then she's like, Monica, have you ever tried it on dark hair? And I was like, mind blown. I'm like, what? Well, but they're pastel tones. Like, but the shine and the finish and the reflection it gives to it. So it's challenge number 2 I give you guys. Try them out on dark hair. They're beautiful. They are designed as a toner that can be used for they mix 1 to 1.5. They can be processed for 25 or 40 to up to 45 minutes. Remembering that using the rules or knowing the rules helps you slightly break the rules. Meaning, let's say I want to make my color more intense, then I could mix it equal parts. It's just going to make your color a little bit darker, a little bit deeper. If you want to go still a little bit more pastel, then I can mix it 1 to 2. Our target swatch color is always going to be recommended to do 1 to 1.5. But this is another way that ASP lets you be creative. These are some of the examples that we have, and these are the colors that we do have in our metallic series. So we have, anytime you see the M before it, that means it's part of our metallic shades. And then it gives you the color that we're looking for. So it's our pearl, are gray rose, pearl rose, mahogany violet, copper rose, or light violet. And you can see how they are used here on these two different models. And they are to be mixed with converter. You don't mix it with any of our other developers. The ideal and recommended developer is going to be converter. And here are some more examples. As you can see, the one to the far left, the color used here, okay, it's T22 and we did 0.7. So the root smudge at the top was used 4.117, which is part of our Gothic, and 501, which is Infiniti. Okay, so we used that at the top for her root smudge, and then her toner was the MLV plus the T22, and it's 0.7 intensive. Okay, this next one, sorry. Actually, if you, again, this would probably another good one to either screenshot with your computer or take a picture with your phone, just so that you have these visuals and these formulas. Okay. All right. And I just want to add that the ketoko protein additive can be added into it. If we're not familiar with that, it's a protein additive that uses oat proteins. It helps to fill the hair while you're processing your color, making sure that your color processes evenly into the hair. The way the protein additive is used is going to be 1 pump for 50 mixed grams of product. Okay. That's just going to be to protect the hair and equalize the porosity and have some very even and beautiful results to the hair. We can go ahead and switch, Laura. Okay. And so now we have our toners. I mix my intensives with my toners. Very similar in packaging, totally different product, okay? So with our toners, there are 8 fully intermixable shades. As you can see in the previous image, it did say that we had our T22 in there. That's part of our toner collection. Their process visual up to 25 minutes. You want the max deposit, go the 25 minutes. If you're working on somebody that maybe has porous hair, you've done a lot of lightening, then you can do visually. So you're applying the product, you're looking at it, and once it's ready, you go ahead and rinse and shampoo out. The way they're mixed is 1 to 2. So 1 part of your color, 2 parts of your developer. Your developer is going to be converter. Okay, you can see it here. I love the packaging on the ASP converter because there's no mixing it. You have your normal 10, 20, 30, and 40 in a beautiful beige bottle, and then you have the black that just stands out, and that is your converter bottle. So that's what you should be reaching for in your locker cabinet when we're using our Infiniti toners. We have 8 Supreme Blonde colors. We have 5 that are going to enhance the warmth, and then we have 3 that help neutralize. Okay, as you can see here, these are the different shades: mushroom blonde, lilac, almond blonde, rose blonde, and beige blonde. In our cool, we have our pearl blonde, our ice blonde, and our super ice blonde. As you can see, it says these 3 toners give minimal lift to achieve super ice cool blondes. That's what I was starting again to get into previously. So with our cool shades, they have a slight bit of ammonia. But again, that's where the converter is going to come into play. It just lets it work because it's a working ammonia. It's going to lift out the last RPC, and then we go straight into deposit. With converter, you're getting more deposit than anything. Okay. So it's just going to help make sure that you get those very white, icy blondes that you're looking for. And same thing with the T2, just to neutralize and pearl out any of those unwanted yellow tones to the hair. These are beautiful images and examples that we have on the hair. Go ahead and switch for me, Laura. Perfect. This is T2 with converter. Super easy, straight up, 1 toner, T2 and converter. You can see how the previous image has a lot of like yellow tone, and when she was pre-lighting and tone, it's a very even and natural looking blonde. I think that's one thing that is my favorite about our toners. I've never had to figure, you can switch it, Laura. I appreciate it. Thank you. Just giving an example of something that I love about the toners is it's a controlled deposit. I don't have to worry about applying it and it going super blue or super, not yellow, super violet. It's a controlled deposit, but it tones out and gives a beautiful result to the hair. Okay, so some of our favorite toners are going to be the double shot almond, which is going to be T24, 10 grams, T135, which 10 grams, and 60 grams of converter. Okay, our passion pink, which is going to be T26, 30 grams with 0.61 gram. You can see how we're intermixing our intensives with converter and 32 grams of converter. And our Lux Lilac, which is T22, 30 grams with 2 grams of 0.2 intensive with converter. Okay. We can go ahead and switch, Laura. Perfect. And now for our game changer. If you have not seen this product, if you have not tried this product, run. Don't walk, run and go get this product because it really makes a difference. So what this product is from our Mode family, and it's going to be Miracle Water. It's a lamellar conditioner that the benefits from it is going to be the shine and the repair to the hair. What I love about it when I'm using it behind the chair is that on the side of the bottle, it has our dosage. So you can use one dose is about 25 grams. You're going to shampoo the client's hair. You're going to towel dry it. You're going to remove as much of the excess water as you can. We don't need to go on scalp with this. We want to go off scalp and we're going to go mids to ends. You're going to, I like to section out 4 sections on as I'm going to condition. I'm going to take the hair, apply my Miracle Water, and then I'm going to comb through. I usually have like a wide tooth comb or even my hands. I just kind of like run my fingers through it. You feel a little bit of warmth, which is really nice and unique, which that has to do with the lamellar part of the conditioner. It does have a hyaluronic acid, so you're going to get the most moisture. Think of your makeup and your moisturizers and how you look for skincare for hydration from hyaluronic acid. So now we have this in a hair product. Okay. So you're going to apply it in the hair. It happens in 9 seconds, you guys. No more having to leave. I mean, you can use our masks. They're wonderful. But this is a beautiful speed process, great for adding this for a blow dry if somebody's coming in to just do a wash and blow dry. This product is going to speed blow dry time. It's going to control frizz. Somebody just wrote in the chat, love, love. Yes, if you have not tried this product, it is a game changer. The first time I tried it was actually on one of my cousins. She has very curly hair. She's just complaining about it being kind of dry. We've done pre-lightening on it. So she just wants to make sure that it just looked good. I was so impressed when I finished doing her hair. Yep, it's the who is it for? It's for everybody. Finished applying it to her hair. I didn't need to put Kitoka oil, dare I say it, in her hair to detangle it. The hair comes out incredible after using this product. So I really highly recommend it. Who is it for? It's for everybody. This is a retailable product. So you want to be able, or you want to know that you can use this as a back bar, but you can say, hey, go home with this. What is important with the Miracle Water to remember is this is going to be your last conditioning product. If they are, if they're wanting to use their regular conditioner, that's fine. But this should be the last product if they're gonna want to use it. Reason being is that it's just the way it's made. You want to make sure that it is going to be the last product on the hair, and it's just gonna give that beautiful, beautiful shine to the hair. Okay. Any questions on that? Let me see. I thought I saw one. No, I mean, you can't overuse it. However, at some point, you're kind of just wasting product. The way I recommend my clients using this behind or when they're home is they want to use it once a week or they want to use it twice a month. That's just my personal recommendation for them because they're already using ASP products. They're using it, they're the Mode Shampoo Color Care. So I know that it's going to maintain, but this is just that added bonus. Also, when you use it, you're going to see the result for several days or several washes. So that's why I tend to recommend once a week or twice a month. But there's no negative side effect if you decide to use it more. I just feel like it's kind of wasting the product and you're not getting the big bang for your buck, you know?
Overusing it just because I wanted to be able to answer that question.
Yeah.
Don't overuse it because it doesn't do anything more. In fact, my hair looked so much better. I said after 2 or 3 washes, I actually went 3 washes, but don't waste the product. It's like gold.
Yeah.
You don't need it. You just don't.
I mean, what product line tells you don't use our product every day because it's just going to look amazing even after like not using it. So you're going to use it from, let's say your shampoo and conditioner. This is your day, right? This is my wash day. So I'm going to shampoo my hair. I'm going to just remove the excess water. And I can guarantee you, as speaking as a stylist and not as an educator, your client is more likely to use this and see the result of it because they don't have to leave it in 15 to 25 minutes the way a normal mask is. It is still rinse. You do have to rinse it out, but they're gonna towel dry. I just tell my clients, leave a towel hanging on your shower door. Shampoo your hair, rinse it out, grab your towel, literally just do one little wrap this way. Okay, shake it out, grab your bottle of miracle water, you go on your ends, rub it through. Next section, rub it through. 9 seconds, you're done, you rinse. I mean, they're gonna use it. And the fact that they can use it once a week, they really are taking you home with them. Like that's, I can't describe it any other way. They're going to have a beautiful blow dry because of the result is long lasting. So it's not just for the day of the service. It's going to help give them more manageable hair, shinier hair. I mean, the shine, I can't even explain it to you. It really is just different. And these are your service booster and profit possibilities. So when you're adding it as a service, okay, and really you're not wasting any time because it's 9 seconds is what it needs to be in the hair. As a retail offering, you can see here, if you want to screenshot this page or again, take a picture of it, your total profit possibilities with service and retail combined, you're talking $21,000, $215 a year. That, I mean, you can go on vacation. Are you kidding me? You can go on several vacations just because you're retailing and using this product behind the chair. I see some thumbs up in the chat. I hope that I hope you try this. I mean, this is just something that really has changed my work behind the chair.